Hello people, I am Sky Demolisher and welcome back for episode 14 of our Space Marine Let's Play. Last week we left off just after we got into the facility and Inquisitor Drogan was telling us that the security defences are probably going to try to kill us. So, without further ado, we'll get back into it. You've probably also noticed that this has been starting from the pause screen, and that's because instead of quitting out like I normally do, I've just picked up where it left off, sort of thing. I've paused it, and all of that, and then just restarted from the same point. You know, from the pause. It's just because it's easier for me to do it that way. It's less, it's less editing, which makes me look lazy, but it's also less having to go through like all the login screens and blah blah blah, all that. It gets annoying. Okay, that gun is not going to do anything.
Missile launcher.
Okay, so at the moment we are quite lucky that these servitors are not picking us up at the distance.
Then that is where we are headed.
Because it's, well, I suppose I could probably use the Fury thing to get the health up.
Lockdown in effect.
But I don't want to do that. This sort of where having a crouch would have been handy, because, you know, I can't see that particular servo turret. And I have very little health. Okay.
Cleanse and purge.
So just do that because, you know, it might be a slight waste, but at least it gives me health. It also shows how well defended the lab is. Well, that is to say how well defended it was before I barged in. Hopefully there'll be ammo crates here, because, you know, I need the ammo.
Authorization required to implement security protocol.
I believe if you just fired on those barrels, yeah, as it came down, you probably had a high chance of blowing it up before it got there. Always make sure to check around your surroundings though in this game. You might find one of the hidden servo skulls. It's not like I remember where all of them are. I love how Drogon just wanders around as if, you know.
The logic engine thinks we are escaped breeding specimens. There is a control panel in the side room. Shut it down.
Yeah, sorry. That Drogon just wanders around as if he's not going to get hurt. Because, of course, the game was pretty much set up to fire on me, not anyone else. No one else dies if they get shot. But I do. I think that was the last of them.
I'm afraid servo turrets beyond this room remain prime.
Given the sound, there was obviously one around here somewhere.
Specimens needed for my research.
Specimens, cages, operating theaters. This place reeks of xenos.
That is the business of the Inquisition, Ultramarines. This way, Ultramarines.
Is it this way? Because, like, you know, you're behind a cargo crate. You're like one of those weirdos that's, you know, hiding lollies in his van or something. Now, some of you might be wondering why the Inquisitor is so sort of, excuse me, biting towards the Ultramarines. From what I remember of the hierarchy of 40k, like the Space Marines, the Inquisition, and the Administratum
Space Marine recognized.
are all
Ultramarines chapter.
basically, you can read this if you care about Kraken bolters. But it's basically, I've just updated my standard bolter, and now I've got a drum magazine instead of the, you know, the J magazine thing. I don't know if they're called J magazines in real life or not.
The firing core is still active.
Anyway,
Excellent.
they basically all hold like the same status
No.
as each other,
Not precisely.
and they're all
The
like
core actually raises
independent
to the rooftop
of
the
each other.
facility. That is where the rest of the firing array is
Might not be the
located.
Administratum actually. Might be the Ministorum. Anyway, like Inquisitors, they can't so much command Space Marines, but they hold a status that means that they can sort of ask them, put in like a forceful request, and if it's not followed, well,
Alarm.
there's bad news for the Space Marine chapter. Because if they get branded as heretics, then virtually everyone else will try to kill them. And then if they're brought back to the fold, no, this is not going to work.
Better crippled in body than corrupt in mind.
That quote is probably a little weird for people. Basically, like, in the 40k universe, being crippled really doesn't stop you. Space Marines that reach like a certain level of injured, as long as they're you know, deemed worthy of it, they can be enshrined in a dreadnought. So basically they become like trapped in a sarcophagus thing, and they get to command a gigantic metal like mech suit type thing. Quite cool. It was actually one of the game modes in this. By the time I played it, there really weren't many people sort of playing it. And without the right kind of numbers, it was kind of pointless to play it. Because like a lone Space Marine is not going to take down a dreadnought in this game. But a team of Space Marines, they could. Because the multiplayer of this was always like the Imperium versus Chaos.
Xenos detected.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's, you know, weapons back here. I'm pretty sure I was talking about something before and now I've completely, you know, blanked on it. Oh, yeah, being crippled. If you lose an eye in this, you can get like a bionic eye implant. If you lose a hand, you know, you can get like a bionic hand. Or leg, whatever. I mean, I think if you're interested in like the 40k universe, more so if you're interested in the Inquisition, you should look into the Eisenhorn and Ravenor novels by Dan Abnett. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Dan Abnett. They're very good. I'm pretty sure I've undoubtedly mentioned them in another episode, but given that we're now like 14 episodes in, who knows which one that was. In saying that, I don't even know if anybody watches these things. I mean, I watch them. But, there isn't very much in the way of, like, you know, views that get shown to me. Actually, that one might not have activated yet because it's still green. Yeah. Oh no. This has sort of become... I just need to use that fury to get my health back up, because otherwise, you know... Too much risk of... permanent damage and all that. It's really sort of frustrating, because while there's 3 other people here that could be shooting, they don't really seem to do anything. They do from time to time. But for the most part, they just sort of stand there and they look pretty. Which in some ways is very frustrating, and in other ways it's like, well, I don't mind too much because, you know, compared to like Gears of War, where like you can be bleeding out and the AI doesn't pick you up. Very annoying. So now we have Supreme Fury, which is like the highest level, I think. blah blah blah. If you're interested, just pause. But basically, it's just like fury is now
But you will be
increased,
able to
and
fire the
you know
weapon.
you earn it faster.
We had better do so quickly. This place will be awash with orcs before long.
Of course. Security systems disabled.
Authorization recognized. Releasing
Or at
safeguard.
least we hope it is.
Please proceed to the generator room.
Which is probably why Supreme Fury got released like right now.
Place the canister into its cradle inside the power core, Captain.
Do we risk exposure again?
Only if you drop the canister.
Here we go.
Very good, Captain. Your time carrying my power source is finally at an end.
Stand clear. Psychic Scourge firing sequence commencing. Alarm. Structural damage. Warning. Emergency containment rights commencing.
Damnable thing!
What do you need me to do, Inquisitor?
You will need to manually restart the array alignment. Forcibly, if you must.
Where?
In the firing chamber. Board the lift, Ultramarines.
It doesn't sound particularly good, though, does it? Actually, kind of makes me think of
Captain, you must hurry. The downed orcs have cut the main conduits to the firing
in the
tower.
Death Star.
You must reconnect the conduits,
Yeah, you play that in
Captain,
like
or we're facing
Battlefront
an
2.
overload that will rip
You can
this
actually,
planet
oh,
apart.
I think also
Understood.
in what is it? The Force Unleashed. Like, you can stand in the firing chamber of the Death Star and get killed. Or if you're really smart, you can push people into it. Right. So, what I'm going to do is, because of the time, I'm going to cut it here. As explained earlier, this is just going to unpause in the next episode. So those orcs that are running towards us are what are going to meet us at the start of the next one. So I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.